Hey everyone. Morning. Hey. How are you doing? Okay, okay, that's good to hear. So before we are going to start, okay, let's have a moment of silence first for our prayer. Okay, amen. Okay, so for the attendance, just say your name. If just say present if your name is called. Okay. Maneja, De La Cruz, San Jose. Okay, very good. Okay, since everyone is present, so let's give a hand for all of us. Okay. So before we're going to begin, also I want you to recall our lesson in the logical arguments, the logical operations. So, okay, so I want you to supply the missing column for each truth table. Here. Okay, very good. Okay, how about this one? Okay, very good again. So how about for this one, negation? Okay, very good. So how about for the conditional statement? Okay. Okay, last one for the biconditional statement. Okay, so I guess you can master now the different logical operations and its equivalent truth table. Okay, so before we begin our formal discussion, so I want you to think of this line. So who among you are singles here? Are you unhappy? Anyway, so do you believe in the statements? Yes, Michael. Yeah. How about you, Dustin? So your answers vary, you know. Could we say that this line is logical? Is it acceptable? Yes, Mark? Okay. Yes, Jessica, you seem to disagree with this one. Anyway, so how can we know that this one is acceptable or not? So how can we say so? So what do you think is our lesson for today? No, we are not going to have a debate. Much like, okay. So it's more on logic. So particularly, so we are going to tackle on the logical arguments. Okay. So this is the thing that we are going to discuss for today. So we are going to validating a logical argument. So for today's learning target. So by the end of our lesson, you should be able to verify or show if a logical argument is valid or a fallacy. Okay, but before we're going to proceed with that one, so let's define first what is a logical argument. Okay, so it is defined by this one. So an argument is an assertion given set of assertions, or we call this as set of propositions. No? P sub 1 to P sub n. So we call these P's as our premises. Then it yields to a proposition Q. So that Q, we call that as a conclusion. So we can write the logical argument in this manner. Okay, if we see that symbol, okay, so that means we have a deduction or an argument. So that is the symbol for argument. So take note of those symbols. So we already have different symbols that we have discussed. We need to familiarize with since the first lesson about logic. Okay, so I want you to list them down and familiarize. Okay, so here is an example of a logical argument. Okay, so if you know my password, you can hack my account. So if you have my password, therefore you can hack my account. So that is a logical argument. Example of a logical argument. So if we translate this into symbol, so we can let P, you know my password. Let Q, we can hack my account. So for the first premise, first line, so we can translate that into, so if P, then Q. So that is an if-then statement. So that is just simply P implies Q. Or P, if P, then Q. Okay, premise 2 is just simply 2. That is just simply P. Okay. And our conclusion, that is just simply P. So in short, we can write the whole argument into symbol as follows. So that is the equivalent symbol form of the logical argument. Okay. Questions? Okay, it's not. Okay, let's proceed with another definition. The definition of a valid argument and a fallacy. Okay, an argument with that symbol is said to be valid if Q is true whenever all premises P sub 1 to P sub n are true. So if all your premises are true, therefore your conclusion must be true. If at least one row, no, if the combination of premises, no, if at least one is false, then that your conclusion is false, then your argument is a C. So at least one. Okay. So let's go back with the example, no? An argument P, when P implies Q, and Q is a valid proposition or valid argument. Okay. So that is valid, no? So example of that kind of line is the example that we have earlier, no? So I just interchange first premise and second premise. But anyway, they are commutative. So we can just simply interchange them, but not with a conclusion. No? Okay, so you can have, example, you can have my password. You have my password. If you know my password, then you can hack my account. Therefore, you can hack my account. So that is an example of that kind of argument. Okay, let us check now if it's really valid or not. So first, no, so we are going to determine the truth values for each premises. So for P, we will just simply copy. For P implies Q. Okay, when can we say again that for the if-then statement, when can we say it is false? Okay, it is false only if your P is true, then your Q is false. If true then false, that is a false statement. Okay, so everything else is a true statement. Okay, for our conclusion, so we just simply copy Q. Okay, let us check. So let us check for which row where all your premises are true. So it's on the first row. Now let us try to check its conclusion if it's true. Yes, it is true. So therefore, what can we say about it? Yes, it is a valid argument. Let's have another example. This example is a fallacy. You know? So equivalent sentence of this one is like this. So I am happy. If I have good grades, then I am happy. Therefore, I have, is it really valid? Is it really valid? Oh, yes, of course, it's an example of fallacy. But let us try to check it. Okay, let's check. So, for the truth values for Q, so we just simply copy Q. Okay. Then for if P then Q, when can we say again? If it when can we say it is false? It is false only when if P is true, then Q is false. So if true, then false. Yes. So let us try to check. For P, just simply copy P. Okay, let us try to check which row where all your premises are true. Okay, so it's on the line 1 and line 3. Now let's check for its conclusion, no? If it's all true. Okay, the first row, yes, it's true. However, yes, it's false. So there is at least one that is false. So therefore, that argument is a fallacy. Okay, that argument is a. Okay, again. So, okay, so it's your turn, no? If to identify if it's a fallacy or it's a valid argument. So try to check or test if the next example is a valid argument or a fallacy. Okay, so I'll give you 5 minutes to do this one. Okay, time's up. Let's have a poll first. Okay, who among you here says it is a valid argument? Okay, so I have some few hands here. Who among you here says it's a fallacy? There are also some who have raised their hands if it's a fallacy. Okay, since we don't have a unanimous answer yet, no, so I want you to pair up with your seatmate. Just work with your seatmate. So I want you to perform it again. No? So try to discuss among yourself why is your answer valid, or why some of your answers are fallacy. You know? So try to discuss among with your seatmates. Okay, time's up. Okay, so let's try to poll it again. So who among you here says it's valid? Oh, majority. Who among you here says it's fallacy? Oh, there's none. Okay, so is it really valid? Who can show their solution about this one? Okay, Ayan. Okay. We have the same answer with Ayan. Okay, let's check off. So this is my solution. Okay, very good, Ayan. No, very good, Ayan. So, do you have the same solution as mine? Okay, very good. Now let's try to go back with our previous example. No? So I want you to check if it's a valid argument or not. Okay. So what is your answer? Oh, valid. Okay. Is it really valid to say singles layout? Anyway, that's only an example. Don't worry, that is not true. Anyway, so I guess it's it. So when you get a 1/2 sheet of paper, so I want you to do this with your pair. So try to find a pair with your seatmates. Okay. So do this in 5 minutes. Okay. Time's up. So please check. Do you have the same answer as mine? Okay, so if you have, so same solution, same answer, so write a perfect score. If it's not, so just write it 7. Okay. Okay, that's it. No? Any questions? Okay. Do you have any questions? Okay, there's none. So before we are going to leave, so I want you to answer this, perform this assignment, and submit it next meeting. Okay. Again, before you go, no, so I want you to complete these sentences before you are going to leave, in small sheet of paper. So just write this in a small sheet of paper. So if you still have questions, you are just shy to show your answer, your questions, so just write it down. I guess that's it. Okay, so goodbye, class.